Hello and salutations everyone, my name is Glitchmaster and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I'm going to be talking about armor abilities in Halo 5 and just will they be returning in Halo 6. For how we're going to do this, we're going to break them all down individually, as it definitely seems that some, but not all, will be coming back for the 6th main installment of the Halo franchise. Now this may be due to maybe just something as a one-time only gimmick, or from bad fan response, or from any type of other reason. Now, in Halo 5, it is definitely important to know just what the reasoning was behind their implementation. You see, ever since Halo 3, there's been a real tenacious attempt at implementing another aspect of combat to the Halo franchise alongside the golden group of weapons, grenades, melee, and vehicles. We started in 3 with equipment, which flowed right into ODST. Equipment was a one-time usage thing similar to a grenade. Now, in Reach, they changed it up with armor abilities that were more like permanent equipment that gave one person a few specific abilities, and that player, when they possessed it, they could have something like the awesome jetpack or the ever-so-controversial armor lock. Now, these abilities transitioned into follow-up games like Halo 4, Halo Spartan Assault, Halo Spartan Strike, albeit with some new additions and some abilities being removed. The thing to remember, though, with armor abilities was that these abilities were all just one per person. Most of the time, the game mode started off with each player possessing one of the same abilities or having a decision through the loadout system. There were even certain game modes where armor abilities could naturally be found on a map, and players could go from having sprint as default and then flying around in a jetpack in the next moment. In Halo 5 Guardians, though, 343 wanted an even playing field on the battleground. Abilities like thruster packs and sprint became all standard issue for the players, and the newer jet-assisted movement and melee mechanics joined in on the mix. Love them or hate them, it can't be disputed that these elements added into the game a new way to fight and kill enemies and altered the strategies of moving around the map on the horizontal and vertical planes. If you thought it worked well or not, well, that's just in the eye of the beholder for the opinion. At the very least, though, there was one ability for everyone. Now, we're going to take a look at these abilities individually and then come together to analyze their individual returns for Halo 6 and then render our final verdict.
Not gonna make it.
We'll make it.
Pull up! Pull up! You did that on purpose, didn't you?
This seems like something kind of like Invade in Halo Reach, where our character should just naturally be able to do this. Out of all of the Spartan abilities in Halo 5, this is the one that seemingly receives either the most praise or just the least amount of hate. Ultimately, this was the most unobtrusive to the natural gameplay of the Halo series. It would have easily worked in really any Halo game and doesn't give any unnecessary advantages to any player. By far, I think this is a great addition in the Halo franchise, as it does allow for players to have more freedom in movement, but it's also balanced out by the animation allowing the player to be more of an open target for a short period of time. In Halo 4, this was basically like a brief burst of Usain Bolt, and allowed for the player to move in a certain direction really quickly over a short distance. I think they really improved thrusters in Halo 5. It was pretty fun to jump out of the way of an oncoming ghost by just thrusting to the side bullfighter style. In terms of the horizontal axis of movement, we already had sprinting. However, my preference does go to the thruster packs, as these weren't in the basis of long or infinite distances of movement. Thruster packs also didn't affect the size of the maps like sprinting did. However, I don't think thrusters are necessary on a smaller map. But we'll get into that a bit later. This was an interesting new addition to the Halo series. A jet-assisted shoulder charge really wasn't what I was thinking in terms of a new armor ability for Halo, but in some way it actually does work. I love being able to Spartan charge a cracked wall and then get into a secret passageway. What I don't like, though, is the inconsistency of Spartan charging another player in either killing them or just hitting them away from me, which gives them a chance to kill me. It's almost as infuriating as those damned Halo 2 legendary Jackal snipers. Despite the resulting anger and rage, it is balanced, like Clamber, with the animation making the user an open target. It's still pretty infuriating, though. However, if it does return, I would rather it be like an armor ability where someone has to find it on the map before using it. There's nothing more annoying than spawning and immediately walking right into the oncoming Spartan charge of the enemy. Though, there's nothing more satisfying than thrusting right out of the way of an oncoming Spartan charge, so it's a real give or take. Like the Spartan charge, this element allowed for natural lethality from the player in addition to their guns, grenades, and melee. Compared to other animations from Clamber and charging, though, the player is literally suspended in midair for a moment and basically not doing anything. Talk about duck hunting, this is an open frickin' season.
Open season.
Though it is fun to be a little troll and ground pound people away from the rec stations. Haha, take that, teammates trying to just play the game. Oh my goodness, the controversy that is Sprint. Honestly, I didn't mind sprinting how they had it in Halo Reach, as it wasn't completely universal to each player, and thus the maps didn't have to really be altered in any way to emphasize its usage. Honestly, sprinting is kind of unnecessary in its universal form. Well, maybe 2/3 of an unnecessary. Let me explain. Big maps were meant to have people emphasize vehicles, teleportation, man cannons, etc. over just moving through the middle on foot. The smaller maps didn't need sprint, as their focus was just on combat and players fighting each other inside the arena rather than just running away like a noob. On middle-sized maps, they were alright, as they were evident by their appearance in Halo Reach, but they don't need to occur naturally for all players. The problem though is that without sprinting in Halo 5, certain players lost the ability to do the things like Spartan charging or sliding. In addition, all of the maps were created in Halo 5 to emphasize players using these movement abilities, but especially sprint, which is why a lot of these maps tend to now have longer pathways. This is a cool little addition, but one that honestly goes more unused compared to the other abilities. I almost forgot to include it in this listing, that's how much it goes underutilized. It was unique though, and it was another thing like a Clamber or an evade that we realistically should have always been able to naturally do. Why? When you do your aim down sight, smart link, you just float. Hey look, I'm gonna shoot you in midair. Oh no, I've just been sniped out of the sky. How could this have happened? I rarely see anyone use this ability, and honestly, most people just turn it off, myself included. Even with its intended use, a player does not stay up long enough to shoot anything, and its only real usage is just for scanning the environment, but again, that's just for too little of time. Aim down sight, Smart Link, was the big appeal to bringing in the Call of Duty and other aim down sight crowds. Now, to be fair, it didn't give as much of an improved accuracy boost or focus as aim down sight does in other games, but it did give some slight differences as proven by numerous sources that you can find on YouTube. There is no doubt, though, that opinion on this was completely mixed, and this, alongside Sprint, are two of the most controversial aspects of Halo 5, so it's crazy how two of the Spartan abilities are this notorious and divisive. In some ways, they worked. In other ways, not so much. Each ability, thankfully, has its own usage in Halo 5. But now, we're talking about the future with Halo 6. Honestly, I feel like these Spartan abilities were just the main gimmick for Halo 5, and they're going to stay that way. While Ground Pound and Spartan Charge were mediocre melee additions to the combat mechanics, they're pretty unnecessary for the refined mix of competitive arena fighting and casual gameplay enjoyment. If they do come back, they'll probably just be as an ability pickup. Sliding and clambering were unique ideas to getting around. Sliding, though, is more unnecessary. There's really no need to do it except for just something to do while you're moving or while you wait for your thruster jets to cool off. Clambering, on the other hand, though, was a great little way of moving from point A to point B. It worked well, supplementing regular jumping and crouch jumping. Thruster packs are another thing that, in my opinion, should honestly remain in Halo 6. This should be like its Halo 4 counterpart, as an ability that needs to be picked up. I don't think it should be as clunky and out of control as it was in Halo 4 though, as it should remain with that smoothness that it had in Halo 5. Just not in such a way where, again, it just becomes overused in gameplay like in Halo 5. Stabilizers and Smart Scope. Stabilizing is another thing that felt very unnecessary, and I hate the excuse of people who say, well, if you don't like it, then just turn it off and don't use it. That does not work, as that doesn't stop anyone else from using it, and it becomes so disadvantageous to disable it. Except for stabilizers. Stabilizing in midair was so unnecessary in Halo 5 that I had to just disable it. I was killed way more times with it on than I was killed without it. What? I did all the killing.
Unfriggin' believable.
As for aim down sight, Smart Scope, dang, I keep doing that. It should just not at all return. All of the other Halos function so well without it, it cheapens the range of scoped weapons like the DMR and the battle rifle, and it's completely been debunked that it does indeed improve, albeit slightly, the range and accuracy effectiveness of all the guns. An SMG does not need to match the assault rifle in terms of killing at a distance. An SMG should be more of a close quarters class weapon. I can't even defend Smart Scope as it's literally not Halo. Sprinting. Sprint, 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 sprint. Sprint. This one I can at least defend somewhat. I hate its usage on maps that have vehicles or are just too small. I hate automatically being able to sprint. It should come back as an armor ability like in Halo Reach, where if you want to use it, great. Otherwise, you can just use something else. However, unlike Halo Reach, I think it should be in the form of an on-map pickup. People shouldn't automatically have the speed advantage of running to power weapons or strategic points. It should be like a power-up. Heck, I think that speed boost being a power-up like the overshield and active camouflage is much better than just sprinting. It's better too because it drops the animation and players are more balanced like the overshield to where everyone knows who has it activated. Abilities in Halo 6 can be something either universally appreciated or universally divisive, as long as these abilities will be properly implemented and don't become something that breaks the ever so beautiful, refined mixture of Halo's combat system, then I dare say that these could be the next best thing in not just Halo, but all of the first-person shooter genres, and will propel Halo 6 into having one of the all-time top multiplayers. At this point, I just want to say thank you for watching my video. In the comments right now, I just want to know what armor abilities you think will indeed return in Halo 6. Also, please leave a like, share, and subscribe because I make more Halo content like this, as well as non-Halo related gaming videos, wrestling videos, informative videos, funny videos, and more. My name is Glitchmaster, and until next time, peace!